I got a feeling Roman's about to lose to Solo.
The Rock says, The Rock says.
Welcome back to another episode of FPW, the Flash Pro Wrestling Show. I am your host, Chris Flash, and here we talk pro wrestling. Now, we're gearing up for Raw on Netflix. January 6th is probably the most important date in the WWE right now besides WrestleMania. And this is everything we know about it. So let's talk about what we do know and what we do know, how that could affect WWE moving forward. But before we get into it, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe button so you are notified every time I drop a new video so you can stay up to date on everything that's going on in professional wrestling. All right, so let's jump directly into the first thing that happened on the Raw kickoff show. We know, and I guess it was a rumor. I thought it was pretty much definite that Logan Paul was going to be retiring because he said he was after becoming a dad. But Logan Paul is back, and he's going to be on Monday Night Raw. So since they brought him out on the kickoff show, I would have to assume that he's going to be a part of the show in some sort. So he's already stated his claim that he's going to be a future world champion. And to be honest, I kind of agree with him. I mean, if you look at the direction that WWE is going in, they've always been at the forefront of making sure that the product get the most eyeballs on it as humanly possible. Whether you like some of the decisions or not, that's always been the number one idea behind the brand. And this is no different. Imagine the star power, scratch star power. Imagine the attention that WWE would get if they decide to put a storyline in place that's actually captivating to make Logan Paul the WWE champion. Now, as a WWE champion, unless you're Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, you have to be there a fair amount of time. And we've seen that Logan Paul has not been a regular on TV. He's barely ever there, right? Even when he was United States champion, he wasn't there. I think he's only had like maybe 5-6 matches, maybe. So if he becomes champion, does the star power that he has in the world of WWE, does it diminish? Because you see him so much. The guy's amazing at what he does. But what happens when being amazing kind of becomes a standard? I mean, it's kind of like in sports, right? You got LeBron James. LeBron James is one of the most, if not the most, amazing basketball player of all time. But because he's been so amazing for such a very long time, it becomes a standard. So if he doesn't hit his normal standard, then we look at it as, oh, LeBron James is losing it. He's missing a step. Age is getting to him. If he's averaging 25, 6, and 8 a game in the NBA in his 20th season, that's amazing amongst anybody else. But because that's his standard and we've seen it so much, we've kind of become numb to it. So does that happen with Logan Paul? I think the prize of Logan Paul is the scarcity of him. We're like, he's been going away. We almost forgot about him. And then he comes back and does something incredible that makes you talk about him for another few months. He has this match, which is always going to be amazing. And then you kind of go from there. I want to know how they're going to change that if they decide to put the entire responsibility of the company, or at least Monday Night Raw, on him. And if he does become champion, does that mean he's going to beat Gunther? There are some rumors that right now CM Punk is slated to be in a World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania, but they've said the champion may not be Gunther. So who could be? As a matter of fact, you guys let me know in the comments who you think is going to be the person that's going to take the title off of Gunther. And if they do take it from Gunther, will they do it before or after WrestleMania? So all in all, I think Logan Paul coming back and being a part of the Raw roster is going to be a huge benefit, again, because of star power. You have people from the streaming world, from the YouTube world, are going to be really clamoring to see what is Logan Paul going to do on Netflix. And I mean, we're going to have people who have never watched WWE before finally tuning in and seeing what the hype is about. So if they see someone they know from outside the WWE doing some of the most amazing things you've ever seen, they're going to come back to see what's going to happen next. So I get the strategy there. Honestly, I think it's a great move. And it introduces a new heel. And WWE has been struggling lately trying to create really strong, captivating heels. I think that's why you see Kevin Owens and, in some cases, Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre starting to really all become heels around the same time to boost that. So we have strong enough heels to be challengers to, let's say, a Cody Rhodes or some of the more over babyface champions. But all in all, like I said, I think Logan Paul is actually a great move moving forward, especially right now since they're trying to get all the eyeballs that they can. Next, we know that we're going to have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the championship. This has been something that I've said ad nauseum that this needs to happen immediately because I feel like the storyline is kind of starting to get stale. It should have been over even before the introduction of Raquel Rodriguez because I don't feel like she's really added anything to it. I mean, Rhea continuously takes her out. Even on the run-ins, she hasn't been much of a thorn in Rhea's side on her way back to Liv, so what's the point? But we don't know is there going to be any involvement with the Judgment Day? Because it's not going to be a fair match. We know that Liv is not going to beat Rhea straight up clean. Or do they? They're going to have some feel-good moment on Raw. Do they pull the trigger and have Rhea reclaim the championship? And she goes into WrestleMania as the champion. What does this mean going forward for Liv Morgan? Does she enter the Royal Rumble, win it, and then get to go against Rhea again? Or does she jump ship and go somewhere else? Is this a way for the cash-in for Tiffany Stratton to come in and announce that she's a new member of Monday Night Raw and cashes in on either Liv or Rhea and becomes Women's World Champion? This match has a lot of directions that it could go simply because on paper, it's a landslide. Rhea's going to win. And usually when things like that seem like such a foregone conclusion, WWE likes to pull the rug and throw something at you that you didn't see coming. So I think there's going to be a title change on this show, right? You're going to have the tribal combat match between Roman and Solo. That's already big enough. But there has to be a title change. And right now, I think the most obvious is going to be the Women's World Championship, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be Rhea becoming the new champion. So that's an interesting way to look at that. And what does it mean for Dominic Mysterio? Because that's kind of been his whole shtick, you know, him going against Rhea. Even the time when he was with Rhea, they got so much more over together. So I'm interested to see what this means for him. So I feel like this match has major implications for the Judgment Day in a whole, especially now that they don't have the tag team championships no more. So we could be going into Raw, this new era on Netflix. The Judgment Day has no gold. So that could be interesting. Now, let's talk about Kevin Owens. Now, Kevin Owens is not on Raw, but is it possible that we could see the true WWE champion show up on Netflix? Could this be a way to, I mean, it is slated that Cody's going to be there. And right now, his biggest feud is Kevin Owens. I mean, Kevin Owens has the Winged Eagle belt. I like that we are getting the Winged Eagle title, but it's not Cody bringing it back per se. It's actually a part of a storyline versus him actually saying, I'm just going to start wearing it. So if they have their rematch, Cody has the new design WWE Championship, but Kevin has this Winged Eagle version. Do we get a moment where Cody says, hey, I'm going to win against Kevin. I'm going to take the Winged Eagle belt, and now I'm going to wear that. And we're going to retire this version of the championship. Or could we get a whole new design of the Winged Eagle belt? I'm interested to know what that would look like. What would a updated version of the Winged Eagle championship look like in this new era of WWE? First thing I'm thinking about is it's going to be an eagle, and his head is going to be a giant WWE logo. All right, now, as I said in the beginning of the video, I think Roman might be set up to lose against Solo. Again, it's a foregone conclusion on paper that Roman is going to win. Both of the bloodlines are tied one apiece. Solo has a pin over Roman. Roman has a pin over Solo. So this is the rubber match. Everyone is back, right? Everyone on Roman's side is back. Solo has his bloodline. We're going to be on Raw, so Jay and Sami are going to be there. Could they have a run-in moment? Because all Roman Reigns matches are going to have some interference, right? Even if it's not Even though if there's no rules, typically bloodline rules or tribal combat matches are all copy and paste the same, right? So what happens if if both bloodlines even themselves out? It's a stalemate. The Rock is scheduled to be there, and I believe he is the most important variable in all of this. When he comes out, what does he say? What does he do? And most importantly, whose side is he on? The rumor for the better part of a year has been he's the one behind Solo and this new bloodline. So does that mean he comes in and immediately costs Roman the Ulafala and continue to build on that? What does that mean moving forward if Roman does lose and The Rock is not available for WrestleMania? What type of implications does that have? Because he said you shouldn't listen to anybody that's saying he's not going to be a part of WrestleMania, but a lot of people are saying that he's not going to be a part of WrestleMania. And that's been the direction we've been trying to go in, Roman versus Rock, for I think ever since the Tribal Chief character was introduced. So it doesn't necessarily need a championship, but The Rock does want to reclaim all of the power that Roman had, but also showcase that he is the true head of the table. So what happens if The Rock actually builds this bloodline that has the Ulafala and the WWE Championship, and neither one of them is on Roman Reigns? So this match is pivotal in the entire bloodline story. I mean, Roman has hit the moment where he's at a crossroads, right? This is going to be the biggest reality check that he's going to have, I think, in this entire saga. And what happens if he loses? I think from a storyline perspective, it's more interesting if he loses, right? I mean, I think at WrestleMania would be the biggest moment for him to reclaim everything. So how important is this Raw on Netflix going to be? Do you have Roman finally beat Solo, and then Solo goes back to SmackDown, and that's just it? Or does Roman continue his journey to rebuild and take back the family and rebuild the family? Or does he show up more often on Raw? There's so many rumors going on that Roman could be going to Raw permanently because Netflix wants that type of star power. Because right now their biggest star is Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and I guess Gunther, right? Because Gunther's the champion. There is no bigger star in WWE right now other than Roman. And both Roman and Cody, the 1-2 punch of WWE, are both on SmackDown. I don't know if Netflix signed that deal in a negotiation saying, okay, it's okay if we don't get either Roman or Cody. So from that perspective, you could easily separate Roman from the Ulafala and have him try to rebuild the bloodline truly on Raw, because you're going to have Sami and Jay on Raw with Roman. So Jimmy might as well come over, and wherever Roman's going, Paul is going. So we could get a bloodline on Raw and a bloodline on SmackDown. So I don't know. I don't know what this means if either person wins, but I think this is the most interesting match of the entire show. I mean, go figure, right? But it truly has a lot of implications on the overall landscape, really, of WWE. All these new feuds are becoming real because of Roman's effect that he had previously on the WWE for the last 4.5 years. So you got Drew McIntyre attacking Sami Zayn. You got CM Punk and Seth Rollins. You got really Drew McIntyre and Jay and Sami are all going after each other. Now you got Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. They're having and all of those people have decided to team with Roman. So Roman's effect and Roman's impact over the entire WWE is starting to really be seen, and he is oblivious to all of it. He hasn't truly figured it out yet that his sins are almost, you can't come back from them. And I think him losing this match will be the final straw of him realizing, okay, I really need to atone for these sins and rebuild this thing and get this thing back together. So, yeah, man, I think that's the most exciting match that I'm looking forward to. Of course, I think the world is looking forward to that one. And what is the biggest surprise to me is the main event of this show is gonna be Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Now, my theory is they're doing that because these are gonna be the two pillars, the biggest babyface and probably the biggest heel on Monday Night Raw. And so you gotta have them to be the main event. I think that's where they're going with this, because if that's the case, then Roman and Solo are gonna be on SmackDown doing their thing, and they're just kind of like a featured act on this episode of Raw. So I don't know, this is happening so soon, I feel like. I don't know what Seth and CM Punk, what exactly the ramifications of either one of them losing is. To be honest, I don't think this is the end of their feud. I think this is just going to be an amazing match and a go-home moment for possibly CM Punk. But it's not like Seth Rollins is going to lose this match and then just forget about it. So what does it mean for any of them? Does Drew, Seth, and is there anybody else fighting them on Raw? Okay, well, anyway, if it's Drew and Seth, what if they team up to go after CM Punk and whoever else is in the bloodline on Raw? Maybe Jay. Sammy and Jay versus Seth and Drew. What does that look like? Are we getting an anti-bloodline type of, not actual faction, but an anti-bloodline movement, if you will? Is that the direction we're going in? I don't know. And I've said this before, I like when they have scenarios and they have storylines where it's not as easy to kind of depict what's going to happen. But this one, just like the Drew and Sammy match at Main Event, I don't know. Again, I don't know what the ramifications are if either one of them win. Like, what does it mean if CM Punk wins? What does it mean if Seth wins? Or is it just the introduction of the biggest feud that's going to be on the show? I don't know. But the way they've stacked up Raw, it really feels like a PLE. Rumor is John Cena is slated to be on it. So they're setting this thing up like it's going to be a small WrestleMania, as if this is going to be like a night one WrestleMania level show. And getting all of this in the same year, this is going to be the biggest setup for the year to come for WWE. I think probably ever, or at least since the introduction of WrestleMania, maybe, because this is truly going to be changing everything in the wrestling business. So let me know what you guys think. What are you guys most looking forward to for the Raw on Netflix? Are you going to be watching it live? Do you plan on going back and watching it later? Do you think Roman's going to actually become Tribal Chief again? Let me know down in the comments. I cannot wait for this episode. This is going to be probably the biggest show in modern wrestling history that's not named WrestleMania. So strap in. Let's journey on this brand new road that WWE is going on together. And I will see y'all down the road. And as always, be safe, be blessed, be kind. Peace.
The Rock says,